Okay. Good evening. We will call the meeting to order. This is the time and the place for the regular meeting of the Marshalltown Community School District Board of Education. Today's January 12, 2026. Welcome to all of you joining us here this evening. Welcome as well to anybody who might be watching via the live stream. We've got a pink sign-up sheet there on the speakers table for anybody who wants to address the board during public comment time. I'm kind of skipping around on my announcements here, I realized. You'll get 5 minutes to speak to the board. Iowa law, please understand that Iowa law prohibits the discussion of specific employees of the district or their job performance. Also, in accordance with board policy, board members will not respond to comments made during public comment time so that we can comply with open meeting laws. I'm going to back up now. We'll do introductions of the board members here this evening. Starting to my right, we have Zach Wall, Maria Morales, and Elizabeth Wise. To my left, we have Leah Stanley and Sarah Faltis. Immediately to my left here at the center table is Dr. Theron Schutte, our superintendent of schools. To my right is Mr. Randy Denham, our board secretary, and I am Sean Heitman. We gave the student school board reps the night off because it's finals week. Already did the pink sign-up sheet, so without anything else, would you all please join me in reading the mission statement of the Marshalltown Community School District? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there changes to the agenda tonight?
Yes, we added under interagency agreements, the first item there was added, which is a formal assurance agreement with the Department of Education relative to the credentialing, I think, or certification of our virtual school. Evidently, every 5 years that has to be renewed. And then there's also some special ed contracts that were added there too.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
Faltis, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries 6-0. And no recognitions tonight. So we'll jump to the consent agenda. We've got minutes from the December 15th, 2025 meeting. Jackie, are there any items of note in personnel?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Today, Director Rex Kozak from Transportation says about Connie Reinert. Connie has been a central part of the Transportation Department for the past 25 years. Over the years, Connie has handled dispatch, administrative assistant duties, and many other tasks during her career. Connie has gained a wealth of knowledge which has been beneficial to the department as the department has grown and changed. We wish Connie the best in retirement and greatly appreciate the years of service to the Transportation Department.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Looking at interagency agreements and contracts, we've got the formal assurance agreement confirming that the school district will comply with Department of Ed provider requirements for online schools. We've got a proposal from Marshalltown Alarm for the installation and monitoring of elevator emergency cellular phone communicators. An engineering services agreement with Clapsaddle Garber for additional design and construction for the Franklin Field project. A PBM agreement with Gallagher to procure pharmacy services for the district's health plan. And a conflict waiver with Allers and Cooney to review easement agreements involving both the city of Marshalltown and the school district. We've got special education contracts with East Marshall Community Schools and regular education agreements with Des Moines Independent Community School District. Questions about any of those items? We've got 3 open enrollments for the current year, 2 out and 1 in, and then 1 out for the next school year. Randy, are there any items of note in bills or the monthly financials? Any questions for Randy about the bills or the monthly financials? We've got a very generous donation to Rogers Elementary School in the amount of $20,000 from Kate Greer and Peter Fenton to support students and families. I assume we sent some sort of a lovely thank you to them?
Yes, Roger sent a very nice thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've got the food service department has 2 hot well serving lines of unknown make and model or age from the Lenahan Kitchen, and 2 cold well serving lines, also of unknown make, model, or age from Lenahan, that they are disposing of as obsolete. So if you're interested in something of unknown make, model, or age, we've got it for you. With that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Morales, was it Sarah? Morales Faltis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries 6-0. Nobody's on the pink sheet, so Jordan? Julie, you're up.
All right. Well, hello again.
Hello.
Oh, can you do Emma?
Yeah, MLA first.
Okay, so we both are here. My name is Jordan Terry, the AP for Marshalltown Learning Academy, MLA, and then also Therapeutic Classroom.
And I am the instructional coach for MLA, Therapeutic Classroom, and then also MVA.
So we will have board presentations today for MLA and then also the Therapeutic Classrooms. So with MLA, what we have captured and what staff we have talked about and what we believe in is really helping and supporting students have a plan, a passion, and a purpose. And then also us as MLA supporting them with their pathway as they continue their educational journey with us and then also beyond. Staff at MLA believe in the trusting relationships and meaningful learning, and then also growth mindset, positive change, and allowing that voice and choice for students. So right here, you'll see our current enrollment. So currently, we have 103 students. This varies throughout the school day or the school week with the flexible scheduling that we provide. We are at an increase of enrollment of 35. If you notice, we have a large amount of 12th grade students with the smallest amount of 9th grade students. For the staff, this is just an overview of our total staff. So we have 20 total staff. We have about 15 full-time, and then we also have 5 part-time staff members. Then we have, let's see there, and then we also have our classified staff. This was talked about a little bit when we were at the at-risk presentation that we shared about the MLA onboarding and the intake process. So a little bit more in detail is we go through an Edmentum tour when we're meeting with families. Edmentum is the online platform that we use. as one of the options for schooling. And so then we also go through a needs assessment, what current barriers does that student have and how we are able to help them. Go through academic planning, setting up some goals as they start at MLA, and then discuss with them about their advisor, which we will talk about more. And then we have our commitment and discussion that we have at the end of those onboarding meetings, where we talk about expectations, the scheduling piece, and what it looks like for their first day. And these are some, as I have been collecting some data with MLA and reasons as to why students are looking to come to MLA. These are the most popular. So we have the smaller environment. Some is to avoid peer-to-peer conflict. We have word of mouth. That seems to be popular one this school year, the flexible schedule, the mix of hybrid learning options that we provide, and then self-paced and career-focused learning. So when it comes to the student commitments and support and how we go through re-engaging students, because students experience a variety of different things going on outside of school, we have an attendance team that supports with the re-engagement piece with students, reviewing their attendance, what are some barriers that they are experiencing, and how can we best support them to get them to come to school more frequently or with their the schedule that they had currently set up. We set up a plan, and that's with the families, and then we do regular follow-up check-ins for the attendance. And then we also have the behavior agreements and then MTSS supports to provide more individualized support in academics or behaviors if students need that. And then our overview, this was talked about as well, but in the at-risk presentation, but we're at 81.5% for our average daily attendance, and that was an 11% increase.
Was that compared to last year?
Yes,
or-
yep, and same time
Okay.
duration as well, and comparable in enrollment.
All right, next we wanted to share a little bit about a new approach that we tried this year, kind of building on what was happening before, and we're meeting some success with it, is assigning every student at MLA to a teacher, an MLA teacher as an advisor. They're helping to guide them through their courses, their active courses, and select 2 courses that they focus on during a certain amount of time. So instead of having that traditional 5 to 6 courses, we narrow it down to 2 active Edmentum courses. One has to be a core course, and then one can be a choice and elective if that's available for them. And this has really been successful. It helps kids to have, it's less for them to focus on, and they're able to get through their course more quickly instead of jumping around. They also, in addition to those Edmentum courses that they're working on, they can also do seminar course, which is an in-person course. Our MLA teachers provide a seminar, which they do live teaching with them. It's just another option for them to earn credits. And then they can do the dual credit as well through MCC. And having this advisor time has really helped students to focus and take away those non-priority classes and just focus on 2 classes, and they're completing classes a lot quicker. Then you can see our overall overview of credit attainment so far here, first semester. So our students have earned 223 3/4 credits. 17 of those credits have been earned through seminars, so that's that live teaching that our teachers do, another way for kids to earn credit quickly. And then the majority of the credits have been earned through Edmentum, which is the online platform. And then 6.5 credits have been earned through MCC. And those are the high school credit they're earning, not the college credit, but the high school credit. And then they're also earning college credit along with that. Exciting, 9 of our students have already met graduation requirements this year. There's a few that are staying with us and taking electives, but they have met the graduation requirements, super exciting. And then 17 courses have been taken at MCC as dual credit. And that's just first semester. We're going to go a little bit deeper into what that MLA advisor does. So we've kind of built on this program and it's working very well. We're hearing from students that they really appreciate it. So daily check-in, when the student arrives in the morning, they are asked to go and find their advisor. So they check in with that advisor, say they're there, and then they sit down and they do a quick goal setting. So they're setting a goal for that day. And then they're also checking with them, did you meet your goal yesterday or from the previous week? It's also that advisor is helping with that course selection. So they're helping them to identify which 2 Admentum courses are they going to prioritize at that time. And that's helping them work on core courses so they're not just taking all electives first and leaving the core till the end, or not taking all math courses because that's what they enjoy math more than, say, English language arts. We try to make sure that advisor is making sure that they're balancing that so they're not leaving something to the very end that isn't as desirable for them. Helping to monitor their pacing and progress. And then we also have the advisors working with our school counselor, with Mary Edel, about that post-secondary planning, and then also communicating about that MTSS support system. So when kids are struggling, then they're reaching out and we're using data to identify what support systems we need for them. Here you can just see a quick little snapshot of what a student advisory check-in looks like. There's a student sitting there with our electives teacher, Dawson. So a quick check-in, what are you doing today? Let's write this down. Let's check in, what did you get done yesterday? And then also discussing any academic planning they need to do. Informal progress checking is going on in the hallway. If you are at MLA first thing in the morning, our teachers now are standing at the doorway, so it's kind of like this cheer squad that's there to say, it's great to see you. So they're there until about 8:35, so just welcoming kids in. Here's a quick little snapshot of what the goal sheet looks like. So every single student has one of these. It's shared with the advisor and they're working on it together, documenting what those goals are and then when are you meeting those goals and adjusting as needed.
Okay, so we have a few experiences that have happened with IJAG, that students are coming back from those, career opportunities, really excited and wanting to explore more in a specific career. So IJAG, they are also doing our family night right now downstairs, but that is all student-led, the career interests and opportunities. We have Monica Segovia, she is our IJAG teacher. And she is really learning about what students are interested in, what opportunities are there for them to go explore those interests. They have had a variety of experiences with some of the career piece with IJAG. We also have Elective Ave. Elective Avenue is a hallway downstairs at MLA, and that has all of our hands-on elective courses that provide students with different opportunities to engage in more hands-on learning. We have our math. We have our math class that is down there, taught by Dave Carpenter, and that one has been pretty popular, as well as our C-Perch course that is taught by Kevin. So students have been really excited about engaging with IJAG, but then also with the opportunities that we provide in Elective Ave. Here are just a few pictures from the experiences IJAG. This is, we came to the high school pool and they tried out all of the robots, and all of them made it down and back in the pool successfully. So the students were really excited about that. And then we also have our college prep math course. And so if you go down there now, the cabinet is shut, but the students actually built that cabinet in the course last year. And so that's where they have all of their tools. And they are now currently working on a proposal and building a cabinet for MLA. These are just some other career opportunities that students have been able to go to and experience. Here's some more. We have the students, the ones with the orange with the background. That was the one. I think they were trying to explain to me potentially playing with some fire, and so they were pretty excited to come back and learn a little bit more of what they can do with that career. And then the other student that is bent down, she actually built her own small motorized kind of like a car, and so she was testing it out as I was taking a picture. She was pretty proud of that. So then we have our community outreach we have had with IJAG. Again, our family night is downstairs, so anyone is welcome. I know you all have to kind of stay up here. But we have also participated in the parade and also packing meals out in the community that were student-led. Oh, celebrating. If you all have not seen it yet, this is my favorite. We have a lot of different ways that we celebrate and recognize students and their achievements. Small high fives, hugs if they're willing. We do have also some student gifts that we give out for attendance as well as earning credit. We'll be able to experience later, probably next to the party, that if anyone is willing to dance with me, we have a dance party for students who have earned credit. I've had maybe 3 students, although they will, allow me to dance on my own as I celebrate them, but 3 that have been willing to participate. We also have different types of celebrations throughout the school year as well for their success. So this one was our fall. It was more Halloween themed with students. We had a variety of different activities happening in each of our classrooms. And students were able to win prizes, engage with each other through, as you can see here, games. We had some trivia and Jeopardy that got a little serious, but the students loved it. So, and they all were able to dress up if they wanted. And then our last success party we had was our winter success party just before break. One of the students there that is standing alone was our second top credit earner of the semester. We have also Monica. She's right there with the door. Her door won in the decorating contest. Mine was second, so maybe next time. But everything, all of the decorations, setting up was all staff and then students as well. Okay. Oh, darn it. I don't think this is the right one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I thought I tested out the video.
We'll have to fix it and they can watch
Yeah.
it later.
I think I just shared it, but we can keep going.
So Jordan referenced on that comparison on the next one. Oh, is it working? Maybe.
Everybody dizzy really quick.
Look away.
Yep.
There we
Okay.
go.
So this was the student. He asked me to shut the door so no one could see, essentially. But that was his. Yeah, I did get permission. He did. I did ask him. I said, "This is what I would like to show," and he said yes. So I did get permission. But he had just earned his. first full credit. So he had 2 half credits that he had just earned. So for that full credit, so we did a dance, and that is always available if students want to. So.
Well, Jordan referenced these factors earlier, where she talked about why students are selecting MLA. So this just puts a % on there for you. You can see flexible scheduling is the number 1, but they're really pretty even across the board. So there's a lot of reasons why students are finding MLA the right fit for them. And just a little snapshot again of the feedback and highlights. We asked students to share why is it or what helps you to be successful at MLA, and these 4 things were some of the things that they said: the pacing and scheduling, the learning environment, the support they get from staff and the relationships, and being able to work on their Chromebook with that autonomy. And then as you scroll through the next few, there's some student testimonials. There's some really powerful words from the students of why MLA has helped them succeed and what are the great things that are happening there. And then if you scroll all the way to the end, there's some staff feedback too of some of how they feel about the program. And I won't read those to you. I'll let you read those when you have a chance. Yeah, and thanks for letting us share about MLA.
Yeah.
We're super excited about
Yes,
lots of
we
the
are.
things that are going on this year. Any questions before we move on to therapeutic classroom?
What's MTSS?
Multi-tiered systems of support.
Okay.
So what that means is the tiers are tier 1 would be where everyone is at and like the same services for everyone. And when we're not meeting students' needs at that tier 1, we would move to a tier 2, providing additional supports for them, depending on what it is, whether it's academics or whether it's social emotional. So it's
Okay.
tiered as to what students need.
What their need is. Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Are there other questions? I have a couple. The enrollment breakdown, is that fairly typical by grade level? I just don't remember seeing that in the past. Do you have any idea?
I think it's fairly typical that we're usually heavy in the.
In the upper grades?
Yes.
And that makes sense. I just didn't know if that was,
I would, yep. I would say, I think, in speaking with some of the staff who have been here for a few years, the newest, I think, the addition is more of the younger, so the 9th to 10th, but it's been typically heavier in the 11th and 12th.
Yeah, a number of years ago, we made an effort to build a stronger bridge with the middle school because most of these kids can be identified probably by 7th and 8th grade in terms of who might be a good fit for this type of learning. I think, as we've talked about before, that could probably be strengthened a little bit. But at the end of the day, when those conversations are held with students and or parents, it's still up to them whether they want to go to the Marshtown High School or MLA. And I think ideally it would be a little bit more balanced, knowing that we're probably going to have more students maybe at the junior and senior level. But the whole idea is, if we can identify kids that would be a good fit, why not matriculate them in versus require them to fail and then come
be able
in?
to. Yep.
But I also know for these kids, it's even maybe more of a challenge than the average kid in terms of transitioning as a 9th grader in. So I know that's been some of the teachers' concerns too, is maturity and.
Yeah.
anything else from anybody? Okay.
It was a good visit. We got lots of questions answered earlier.
Oh, during the
Yeah.
visit, yeah.
Want to come
It's coming on up. Come on, you two. You don't have to speak, we'll talk.
Need one more chair? Yeah, that's right.
Take mine.
We just came off for some.
Yes, that's
You're holding at the table. Okay. Well, you have met us, so you can meet both of these two.
I am Anthony Smith-Karkup. I'm the Behavior Management Coordinator for the Therapeutic Classroom Program.
And I'm Megan Stein. I'm the full-time therapist for the therapeutic classrooms.
Well, thanks for coming and providing moral support.
I also have Tana, my English teacher from MLA. She did come up from family night, so. I'll throw that out there. Sorry.
Well, I really enjoyed seeing, how you guys are going out of your way to motivate them. And even though it might be to some a silly dance, to some it's something meaningful that maybe they just, want to get that hype that unfortunately sometimes at home they might not get. Not because they don't care, but just because they don't understand sometimes as parents what it means for that milestone, even if it's earning half a credit or one full credit. So I really enjoyed that. So thank you for all you're doing.
Okay, so we will go ahead and talk about the therapeutic classrooms. So the therapeutic classrooms are also in the same area as MLA downstairs, just in a different hallway. And so the purpose of the therapeutic classrooms is to provide highly structured and a supportive learning environment that supports the behavioral and mental health pieces while also ensuring that we have access to grade level and academic instruction. So what we have for what the staff believe, collaboration and empowerment. As I came into this role, this is something that I have seen the TC staff excel in, is working together collaboratively with the students that they work with every day. There are times that everyone is going to need to be able to shift and work with other students, support students in the way that they currently would need in that moment. And so that is one thing that I've seen at TC, especially with the staff. Then also self-regulation skills. So creating an environment where students are able to learn the regulation skills and be able to generalize those across their school day. Trusting relationships, inclusive environment, and then the growth mindset and expectations. So currently, the enrollment we have is, we have 11 students. They're ranged between 2nd and 7th grade. All of the students have supports through special education services. We have 8 total academic goals within those students. So there's reading, writing, and math. And then all 15 have there are 11 students, but 15 have social, emotional, behavior, mental health goals. And those are outlined in their IEPs. There are 15, and why the 15 does not necessarily align with their enrollment is because there are students who have multiple goal areas in the area of behavior. Okay, just want to make sure. TC is a beautiful blend of the therapeutic support as well as providing special education programming for students. There are a lot of different needs that TC serves, and really it is focusing on the regulation, but then also the academic access and generalization. So then we have our pillars, so therapeutic and regulation support, predictable de-escalation, providing the regulation tools that students are able to use, as well as the explicit instruction. Those are outlined in their IEPs as well as in the overall programming that TC provides. With the academics and support with that, we ensure that students are having access to grade level learning, but also providing those accommodations if they are needed that are outlined in their IEPs. We have the low staff to student ratio, consistent adults, and then also those trusting relationships. And the teachers, as well as the staff, review the data regularly within the IEPs to ensure that we are adjusting as we need to when it comes to behavioral or social-emotional behavior, mental health programming, as well as then the academics. Is this mine still? Okay, sorry. I didn't know which one's how far I go. So then with our goals, and what we have here is we're wanting to increase the FastBridge proficiency in the students by 5%. We have our SEL engagement, so 80% of the time students are able to apply the regulation skills that they are learning. And we are collecting that from their regulation log that they all have and is monitored throughout the day. And then positive interactions, so students will have positive interactions with peers, with staff across different experiences. If they're transitioning, 70%, at 70%.
So an extremely important aspect of therapeutic classroom is that family partnership. So all schools, it's important to have that strong family partnership, but it very important at therapeutic classroom because of the special needs that are being served there. So there's regular communication, most of the time daily communication, maybe multiple times a day that they're communicating with family, collaborating with them, setting goals, and so to build on that student's success. So just a quick statement about how therapeutic classroom ensures that students with those complex needs receive that rigorous instruction, the appropriate supports, and the equitable access to learning while they're still meeting their social emotional needs and providing that least restrictive environment, supporting those long-term outcomes. So what is therapeutic classroom not? So it's not a disciplinary placement. It's not a consequence for something a student has done. It's not a reduction in academic expectations. Students are still being given access to full academic expectations at their grade level. And it's not a permanent setting. So students are not placed there and expecting to be there through their entire school career. It is purposeful, it's instructional, and it has that therapeutic support. It's going to build those skills that our students are lacking to promote that long-term success, and hopefully then they're going back to a more traditional environment. We're providing those individualized supports, whether it's through IEPs, behavior intervention plans, and then those data-driven goals, and then also following that legal and programmatic alignment. So what does TC look like? So in a typical TC day, there's going to be small group instruction. There are classroom teachers, and then we also have youth counselors that are supporting that instruction. There's individual regulation plans, so they're working on those self-regulation skills. Teachers and youth counselors are tracking that and looking across the data to make decisions about how to best support those students in building those skills. There's calm spaces, so when students need it, they're able to find a space that they can calm down, they can just take a moment for themselves, and then guided transitions as they're moving through the day. Curriculum and support model, they have full grade level access to all of the curriculum that we're using across the district. So we're using the same curriculum materials, we're using the same curriculum maps, and we're using the same aligned instruction to state standards. They're also, the teachers at Therapeutic Classroom are also collaborating daily and working within a professional learning community. And then we have integrated instruction that's our academics and our behavior working on those skills together.
So the regulation log, so students that are part of the therapeutic classroom have regulation logs. They are individualized to the student's IEP and the goal areas they are specifically working on when it comes to socio-emotional behavior, mental health. And those are what are tracked throughout the day, typically in as low as 10-minute increments. So every 10 minutes, someone is charting the student's behavior, level of regulation, and then being able to adjust as needed throughout the day. Some examples of what you could potentially see walking into a classroom, but I will tell you, not all the time. These are behaviors that we're wanting to decrease, and then being able to sustain the not being able to essentially exhibit those behaviors across longer periods or durations of time throughout the school day. So some things you can read there. We have some verbal aggression, physical aggression, and then refusal and noncompliance. And then just some various verbal disruptions as well. And then that's just our privacy statement as to why we don't necessarily have student pictures in this one. Thank you.
So what's the criteria really like? How do you know when we're going to place somebody in a therapeutic classroom? What's that process look like?
So, Ben, I can take on a little bit of that. I'm more on the receiving side of that. But okay, just come on down. It's exciting. Yeah. So, typically, if you have a student who already receives special education services in a comprehensive building, the school team has gone through continuing to support that student, running that student's plans inside of those IEPs. And if the data is showing that essentially the student is needing more than what the comprehensive is essentially able to provide at that time, then that would be an indicator that it's time to potentially look at if TC is in appropriate placement. Do you want to?
Yeah, we've got a program criteria document that talks about the profile of a student who's typically served in TC, and so part of that is what types of services are already in their IEP. Part of it is how their disability manifests in the classroom, and it is always a matter of talking through with the comprehensive schools IEP team about, we're seeing challenging behaviors. Do we think that the service model that this student needs is best served in TC? Because there are some students with really challenging behaviors in the district who wouldn't see success in the TC model that's really focused on talk therapy and debriefing situations. And so that meets the needs of some students with challenging behaviors, but not all. And then we try to just think about the amount of space that we have in TC in terms of we will always meet a student's needs, but there's 11 students being served in TC right now, which gives us a sense of how small that pot is of the cases that are the most challenging are the ones that are really appropriate for TC.
We're fortunate that we're able to offer this program because most districts that don't, the alternative is to send kids somewhere else, another community. And we do have some kids periodically that do need even that further type of support. But as Julie was talking about tier 1, 2, and 3, this would be tier 3, this would be, like they said, beyond what we can accommodate in a regular school.
And I think part of what's exciting about having a program like TC in-house is that when you send a student away to another community for this type of service, it's a slower process to then consider, are they ready to come back? And something the TC team is really great at is they're always thinking, when are we ready? Can we do maybe the first hour of the day back at a comprehensive building and then with us at TC, and we add time periodically. And it's just a much more flexible system than if we were sending them to Des Moines for some service and then it's sort of just they're gone for the day. And so this gives us a lot of flexibility and lets this team really push us as a system to reintegrate students as often as we can.
I was really excited before the break when I was down, and a couple of your teachers were so excited and passionate about the fact that a young man had earned the right to be transitioned back to the middle school. And then they talked a little bit about, middle school's challenging for everybody generally. They talked a little bit about how that student was being coached and counseled and how he was willingly coming back and sharing some of the challenges he was experiencing, whether with peers or the course or whatever. And it was just really neat to see.
Any other questions or comments? Leah took mine, so.
Oh, was that yours? Sorry.
No, it was a really good question. That was the, I guess you have 11 students currently, and I know we asked today, what would be like maximum capacity, so to speak?
6 in each classroom.
So 18.
18?
Yep.
And that's K through 8?
K through
Yeah.
8, yep.
You just only happen to have 2nd through 7th
Okay.
right now, right?
Yep.
Well, it looks like that's it. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can get back down to family night for a little bit. I assume Ben's just switching chairs or something, right? Okay.
All right. Well, Ben and I are very excited to get to share some feedback with you following our All Means All Solution Tree Conference that we had the 2 days before Thanksgiving. Hard to believe that it's been that long. And we have taken all of the comments that our teachers provided in like a feedback survey, and we've organized them so that we can kind of look through them with you and just kind of synthesize what's shared there and then let you know where we intend to move forward and the next steps. So if we could go to the next slide, that'd be great. Okay, so this is just a quick reminder. Why was it so important or essential to have this learning and for everyone to come together and have the same message, belief system developed? A lot of schools would typically send, a team of 5 to 10 people to get the learning, to bring it back and try to really spread that within their building. Ben and I have talked a few times that through bringing the training here and allowing everybody to have the same message at the same time, it just expedites the ability to move forward and to continuously have that core central belief that all students can learn at high levels. So we have that for kind of that reasoning, but also you guys will remember that on our Iowa School Performance Profiles, we had 3 buildings, still do, that are targeted for special education or in the IEPs. And this specific training that we brought in had a thread or a layer of supporting special education students in the gen ed classroom, in their special education setting, if they do have like a small group or a pullout, and really what does that mean for all students to learn at a high level, even special education students. So that we just thought it looked perfect for us. So if we could go to the next slide. So I thought it might be nice to just kind of review who the presenters were. It's really interesting. You kind of just contact Solution Tree, you look at the different institutes that they have going on, and this was one that was brought to Southeast Polk in Des Moines in June, and I was able to go with Lisa Pegler. This was before Ben joined us, and we shadowed it. So we were just kind of wanting to see what the breakout sessions were, whether or not the messaging and the learning would really fit what we need. And Lisa and I came back on like a high. We were so excited. If you're into curriculum and instruction, this is like Christmas Day. So we were really excited that, hey, we get to bring these 5 speakers in, and what how fortunate we were to be able to do that for our entire staff. So our 5 speakers, Megan Clark was, in my opinion, a specialist, the expert in special ed. So she offered a lot of breakout sessions that you would find our special education teachers in, because she could get like way down into the weeds. And that setting, I think, was a little bit less formal. It was in the high school library. And our teachers could, on a whim, anytime raise their hand, and she would engage with them and answer questions and try to help them through. She had a lot of great resources. Every single one of our speakers gave us their resources. But I think the how-to and to actually like move forward as a special education teacher, she was willing to share everything that she had. Julie Schmidt is, I think, probably more of the leader that like had the vision of bringing this whole team together. She was supposed to be our lead-off keynote, and she got in really late, so she ended up being our keynote the second day, but I think it worked out great. And she has just a core belief that all students can learn at high levels, and she does a really nice job, not only supporting teachers, but leaders as well. And then Matthew Blackmore actually is a principal at Dallas Center Grimes. They brought him in. He's also a Solution Tree associate on the side, kind of like a side job, and he's also Ben's mentor. So it's kind of special to have him in-house. And he had a lot of great breakout sessions. I just kind of brought forward a few of the snapshots there. And then Heather and Jeannie, they did a mixture of like student behaviors, braving tough conversations. It was more than just what are the different learning progressions that need to happen in the classroom in order to push kids forward. It was very much all-inclusive. So I feel like no matter what role you have in the district, you'd be able to find something that's really meaningful too. And what's really neat is they're practitioners. They know they've walked the walk. They're able to really relate with staff. And then, of course, they gave us their contact information so we can continue to reach out if we need anything. Okay, so we're going to get into the meat of this. So what did our participants say about All Means All? And I did exactly what you're not supposed to do. I put 1 million words on every single slide, and we are not going to read them word for word. I wanted to, so we have a Google form, that goes out, and all of the responses come into a Google spreadsheet. And instead, we read every single response. But what I asked AI to do is to summarize each one of these columns. So this is a summarization that AI generated. It wasn't tailored at all by me. Does that make sense? So what the language model found to be a theme is what you're seeing here. I didn't pick through it and say, I don't agree with that. This is really coming from the teacher responses and then putting it together in front of you, which is why you have so many words. But if you keep so this is just a summary of inspiration. So we asked the teachers, tell us something that inspired you, and you can see there's quite a bit there. And then we asked them, tell us something that the district can do differently. So we layered it. So think about the district and what can we improve, or what did you notice in comparison to thinking about what we do as a district. And you'll see those highlights there. So need for collaborative time, high expectations and rigor, co-teaching model. Those are actually repetitive through these next few slides. Is there anything there that you would, before we keep moving?
I think the co-teaching model really stood out. I know in Marshalltown we've kind of gone through some waves of doing a lot of co-teaching and then moving away from it. And we have some buildings that have really connected to it and others not so much. But I think that really came away from the conference of how much research supports that model and how that's a really great way to break down some of these silos of we have special educators doing special ed work, we have general educators doing general ed work, and those are completely different things. I think a lot of people left the conference realizing we got to work together a lot more. And that's one way potentially that I think we could get that done.
That comes through in the collaboration time, which shows up as well on this slide. So then they were prompted the same, but through the lens of their building. So think through the work that you're doing at your building, and you'll see those 3 highlighted areas are repetitive from the district to the building. But there's a few different themes that come through there too, and you see the difficult conversations come up. So PLCs work really tightly together, and they know that there's really specific steps that they should be taking in order to meet that best practice or the research base behind PLCs. And we know that we just continuously keep working at that because there's some teams that are just extremely high functioning, and then there's others that either have had turnover or we're in a leadership transition that we're continuously providing support. Collaborative, the planning time is interesting. This has come up, and I totally agree with it. We have sometimes we have to provide coverage. We don't have enough subs, and that can really impede on their planning time. And when that happens, it can actually also then impede on their PLC time, which creates a huge barrier to moving that instructional work forward. And then they were prompted to really think through this lens of like you individually as a teacher, what can you do differently, or what's your feedback in relationship to the conference? And that top bullet is really important, I think, across the district, and we've actually been learning with TNTP, accelerated learning, for years now, but it really connects the high expectations and productive struggle. So we even got into a few sessions, and I think a keynote where we describe the difference between a modification and an accommodation, and how important it is to know the difference and to use the accommodation when it's appropriate versus a modification, because a modification will lower the expectations by grade levels, where an accommodation is scaffolding to the grade level standard, and supporting the high expectations and the productive struggle for our students. So sometimes I think we get to be like so compassionate that we want to help. We've all been there, every single one of us. You wouldn't be here if you weren't, because I think we just want to step in and be supportive and help, and sometimes we help too much. We don't allow the productive struggle. And I think that's just, it's great that it came through, because it was definitely a theme in the conference, but it came through from our teachers back to us. Is there anything there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And then celebrations and challenges. So we had a portion of the form that only PLC leads filled out. So they went through, everyone filled out the first part, and then we said, are you a PLC lead? If they were, yes. Then they filled out, what are some celebrations and what are some challenges that you have? And you can see that there's a wonderful list of celebrations: data assessments, curriculum standards, collaborative nature, PLC processes, and that they're seeing student progress. And then challenges, which some of these are repetitive from what we saw before: the time constraints, meeting logistics, fidelity of the PLC work. Getting to all of the students all the time, can be overwhelming, especially if you have, a roster of 125 kids. Making sure that they're using the data, so when they have a CFA, common formative assessment, they're using the data from the assessment to move their instruction forward. And then I think the last bullet there, the team cohesion, there's definitely some PLC leads that are seeking support from either instructional coaches or principals, depending on the situations that we have out there, just to continue to move the work forward because they're struggling with some sort of cohesion with their team.
I think that exciting part on the celebrations is that last one, the student progress. I think it's a common maybe misunderstanding that when we think about providing great instruction for students who are struggling or students who have disabilities, that there's sort of a pot of time, and we have to, if we're devoting more time over here, that's taking time from someone else, and that's going to lower the classroom experience for other students. And what being all together at this conference really reinforced was what we're seeing in some of these celebrations, that the research about universal design for learning is that when we think really hard about our instruction and work together as a team, we provide better instruction, and every student in that classroom then benefits. So if we're thinking about how do I make this instruction accessible to a student with a reading disability or a student with autism, really that's just going to make for better teaching, and then every student in that classroom is going to benefit. And so rather than kind of a zero-sum game of needing to choose which students to focus on, we can just have really high-quality instruction and everybody succeeds then.
Okay, and this is the how slide. How will we move forward?
So one step that we're going to take to move forward is to form a special ed guiding coalition. This was we're kind of relaunching a group that was formerly the Special Ed Advisory Committee. That group has kind of faded out in past years, and so we're going to reimagine it using some of the principles we learned a couple months ago. And so after the conference, put out requests to our staff and our parents, just asking for some people who are really committed to this inclusive vision that the school board has asked us to enact in special education that we've been learning about. And the idea is just how do we turn some of these ideas into action. So was kind of thinking this through with Dr. Smith ahead of time of what this could look like, and was sort of hoping if we could get maybe 10 people, that would be a great group to move forward. And I was really blown away after the conference. We had more than 30 applications come in to join the coalition, and just a lot of energy and excitement around, I want to think about this differently. I want to provide inclusive instruction. How do we do it? And so we're reviewing those applications right now and are going to reach out to the folks that were selected for the committee, but it's just a lot of energy behind it, and it's really an exciting time to be doing that work. So we're working on that right now, and then that committee is going to start meeting in February of this year. We're also pursuing a grant from the Department of Education. This grant is tied to some of our designations through the ISPP and IDEA-DA, so those are two accountability systems with the state. And there's some grant money that we can compete for based on those designations to try to make improvements. So we've got an application in that we're going to hear if we won the grant on February 2nd. And we're hoping to use those funds to partner with Central Rivers AEA to do a systems analysis, and then also partner with them with some coaching. So I hope that they're going to kind of take this lens of all means all and inclusive special education, take a look at our system and let us know you're doing this really well here. Here's an area where we could do some more work, and then partner with them for some coaching to follow up on that. And then we'd also like to bring back a solution tree presenter next year to, again, do some follow-up of, we had a big push. We're now 6 to 9 months into it. What's it looking like? Where do we need to continue the work? So very excited. I hope that that grant comes through. That could be a big piece of implementing what we learned in November.
And we talked a little bit about time, but what I'd really like to do is continue to think outside the box on how we can potentially protect that PLC time. I know that coverage is necessary when we're short sub, so it's going to be really hard to find solutions that really protect the PLC work, but it's essential. And then the collaboration also between gen ed teachers and special education teachers. So, you know, if you would have asked me before all of this, I would have been like, yeah, we actually have a master schedule where we provide collaboration time for our grade level teachers. We like check the boxes, right? And then we were listening, and our teachers, you could just tell they were looking at it going, we don't ever have time for that. You know, like there's no time carved out for gen ed teachers to, in their PLCs, meet with special education teachers. And there's some of that's by design, because special ed teachers need to have access to the students first. And if they were meeting with every single grade level team for PLCs, it would be all day. They would only go to meetings for PLCs, if that makes sense. So we have to be thoughtful of their time too, and the SDI or the instruction that they need to provide. But I really do think that we need to put pen to the paper and think about what we can do there. And then we talked about this at internal communications, actually. Our teachers brought co-teaching training to us following this solution tree conference. They were just excited about some of the learning that they had. There were some breakout sessions, and they wanted to bring back some high quality co-teaching training, which we have had in the past. We just haven't had it. So those are some next steps. That's, I think, our last slide. Have any questions?
Questions or comments?
I had a question related to the challenges, and I guess a comment first. I appreciate when I read this at home, I was struck by the really bold language that you used here when you talked about challenges. How are you, as like an executive director and director, responding to these challenges individually when you get this information that comes your way?
I think it's a mix of when we get this feedback and the staff shares the challenges with us, we look through it with our leadership team and then think through, are there any like really specific things that we need to reach out to a certain teacher? A few teachers reached out with really specific questions about one student's IEP, kind of in light of my learning last week. I'm worried about X student, and that's one that is a one-on-one type level of like, let's connect and sit down and figure out what's going on here. And then there's on the bigger level, I think thinking about some of the challenges, time came up a lot, and you see it on here a lot of like, awesome, we'd love to sit down together, we can't be in meetings all day. And so trying to lean in there, I think, to not let this perfect picture of what it could look like keep us from getting started and taking one step in the right direction. So we don't have that ability right now to connect with every grade level, but could we get all our special educators joining one grade level PLC? Or could we get special educators, some on a math team, some on a reading team? And I think we're going to see a positive snowball effect of where we get in those places. We're going to plan better instruction, get better results, and then build momentum around adding that to more and more parts of the school day.
The survey that we shared asked for the challenges, and then it also had like a drop-down menu. These are just summary statements, but it had a drop-down menu where the PLC lead could select which like role they would like support from. So principal, instructional coach, PLC lead. So they had an option, and then we shared back the results with the principals and coaches so they knew who to check in with.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions or thoughts? Okay. Well, sounds like a really good conference. Sounds like it presented some really good challenges.
Yeah.
And there's a real vision, I think, coming for what could be, right?
Yep.
I think all those are really good things.
Yeah.
So,
Agree.
yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
26, 27 calendar drafts. So I'll just kind of give you some highlights. In general, this calendar draft very much mirrors many of the calendars that we've had in the past. I'd say the one thing that was different the last couple of years would have been what Sean just presented on regarding we've had two different opportunities and two calendar years to have a two-day conference, which we do not have built in for this. As has been the case, we have 5 pre-service days with the first day of school students being Monday, August 24th. By law, we can't start before the 23rd. 23rd falls on a Sunday, so Monday is the soonest that we can start. There are 4 half-day early dismissals built into this calendar to accommodate either parent-teacher conference prep or grading, and that's a contractual agreement that we have with our teachers. So around the first quarter and the third quarter, those are true early dismissals, like on Fridays. At the end of the semester, it's part of a full day professional development / teacher work day. And then, of course, at the end of the year, it's part of the professional development teacher work day closeout day. This calendar does have a full 2-week winter break, as we had this past year. So this is one area for which, if there was a strong desire to have the calendar end a little bit earlier, a day or two, the 21st, 22nd of December could be student days if we so chose. I think everything that I've heard was an appreciation for having a full 2 weeks this year, because we hadn't had that for a while. Usually the calendar lends itself naturally to that every 4 or 5 years. But again, the way it's falling with Christmas and New Year's being on a Friday, you could go either direction with it. With having that 2-week winter break as well as a week spring break, we end a little bit earlier than we do this year, and it's still, in that first week of June past Memorial Day. Last day of students with this calendar is Thursday, June 3rd. Last day for teachers would be Friday, June 4th. Again, if, let's say we were to change, have something less than 2 weeks around winter break, It would gain a couple days, but we'd still be into that first week of June, and that's still assuming also that we don't have any snow days that need to be made up. This calendar has 89 days in each of the first and second semester for a total of 178 student contact days, and then we have 12 teacher professional development / teacher work days that are built in, which equates to 190 teacher contract days, which is what we build the schedule around. I did meet with calendar committee earlier today. There was one teacher that did inquire about should we consider not having 2 weeks at winter break and getting out a little bit earlier. The only way that she was actually hinting towards wanting to get out by Memorial, and the only way that would happen is if you shortened up winter break and you shortened up spring break and you were fortunate not to have any snow days, probably. More times than not, as you know, our high school does plan graduation around that Memorial weekend. This is an off year where it had to be a different week, but as of this calendar, it would lend itself to it being back on Memorial. The way this would play out, we probably will do some surveying of staff just to get a better feel for how they feel about the 2 weeks around Christmas versus when the end date is or where it could be if we shorten it up a little bit. We could do that with parents as well. But our intention would be to come back at the next meeting, hopefully with a calendar recommending for approval. And we would need to have a public hearing at that meeting as well on the calendar. Any questions or comments relative to this calendar? Or?
This lists days, but is it built on instructional hours or is it built on days?
So this is built on teacher contract days, but as far as students go, we count hours. And so the teachers would tell you, and I would as well, that their time is best used with students. So we have to, however it equates, we have to get to 190 contract days. Most of that time is with students outside of those professional developments. So we wind up with probably 8 to 10 days of student hours beyond the minimum requirement by the state. And because of that, it gives us a little bit of flexibility with snow makeup days as to whether we have students make them up or not. Teachers do need to make days in one way, shape, or form. So sometimes we do add the student and teacher day at the end of the calendar. Sometimes we might forgive a student day, but have the teachers make it up with another work day at the end of the calendar, or we have had cases where, by spring break, we've only had a couple days and we have the teachers make up a day and then they make up another day, sometimes by extending their work day by 15 minutes over a period of time in order to make, there's different things that we can do. We usually don't, we wait to make those determinations closer to spring break because more times than not, we're out of the woods with snow days by then. Not always, but that way it gives us a little bit better feel. Yeah, so the 180, what used to be 180 student days that were required equates to 1,080 hours. And so we do exceed that quite a bit with 178 student days.
Other questions, comments? You would need, if hypothetically you were going to try and be done by Memorial Day, which is the 31st, right? Mm-hmm. You're going till the 3rd of June.
Yeah, we would.
So you need to pick up 3 days someplace?
Well, yeah, 3 student days.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like with winter break, for example, the 21st and 22nd could become student days, but I don't know where that third day is going to go. We're not going to want to go to school the 23rd and
Yeah, and you're not going to come back the first. No one would show up.
The teachers don't want to come back on the first. The teachers wouldn't want to come back on the first, so they'd really need another day.
the spring break does align with both Morristown Community College and the regions again, so.
Okay. Anything else? If not, we do need a motion to set a public hearing on the 26-27 school calendar for the February 2nd, 2026 regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Faltis, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries 7-0.
Chapter 4.
Jackie, you come on up. Bring your book.
And
We
a
need
lot of
friends.
the comments today, like, fit well with 5. I read ahead, and now I was thinking about all of those things about.
Yeah, so chapter 4 talked a lot in the first half of the chapter about the power of collaboration and, you know, how 2 heads are better than 1 and 3 are better than 2, and how the sharing of ideas usually comes out with better solutions in collaborative ways versus individuals trying to do it themselves. I really, really, really like the second half of the chapter where they're talking about the power of diversity and inclusion and taking purposeful steps to make sure that all voices are heard and can contribute and that people can learn from the differences of others. And I was really bummed that our students weren't going to be here because it was going to be interesting to hear their reaction to the story about the high school students that started a global club around the differences within the student body and how that grew to where it's now a national organization and that sort of thing. But it was really cool how over time those students working together had developed activities that helped bring different kids together who traditionally would not have spent a lot of time with each other, but now different student friendship groups and or work groups were established as a result of kids getting to know one another better, and how that club, they're purposeful in its membership, making sure that 50% of the group are native English speakers and 50% are not, because part of it is working on English as well as the other part is then doing other activities. So. The other thing that stood out to me, looking through the lens of Marshalltown, and how I think different, whether it's the school board, the city council, the Chamber of Commerce, how different groups evolve and become more diverse to reflect the community over time. There was a comment about, just having, for example, students of color in a group doesn't, it makes it diverse but not inclusive. You actually have to take purposeful action to make sure that all voices are heard, that all voices have a role in making decisions versus the traditional power structures doing that. So I thought that was really interesting too. think there was a quote, diversity is a fact, inclusion is a choice, I think, was in the book. Other takeaways? Tried to refresh your memory.
I liked the Girls of Steel, that whole group, and as he's talking about through, we started our Women's Impact Network at work and got involved in First Lego League, like some of the things that they're talking about there, we had very common items that we were walking through when we were doing that here locally as well. So that was just the different things that they were thinking about as they were setting that up was very interesting to me. Some of those commonalities.
Some of the presentations that were shared tonight by MLA and TC, our Jordan and her teams was really reminding me of the first part of love or lack thereof or something like that. Whereas you could tell that relationships and having those positive interactions made the students feel very supported and then in turn have success with their student learning.
Yeah, they talked a lot about psychological safety, right? And just right. That just being part of a diverse group isn't enough. You have to be safe in that group. Yeah.
That reminds me of the work of Dr. Bruce Perry, and I don't know if you've read the book, The Boy Was Raised with a Dog, which talks about the psychological safety. And it's all rooted in the neuroscience behind it. Very interesting.
Other thoughts, comments? I thought it was interesting that Google had trouble figuring out which of its teams were good or successful and which ones were not. I just thought that was interesting. And they just couldn't figure out, we have some teams that seem to have the same people in them that do really well and some teams that don't. And they just couldn't figure it out, despite having seemingly all of our data and information, so.
Same to the model of the psychological, how they were talking to the students about there's times that, yes, you have your friends and, they make you happy, but then there's also times that they're going to make you mad and upset, but that doesn't mean they can't be your friends, or that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be your friends. It's having that balance and trying to figure out what went wrong, whether there's a misunderstanding. So I liked how we talked about that as well.
Yeah, he had that. I had this underlined too. It's the people who we love the most who can make us feel the gladdest and the maddest.
Yep.
You don't think about that when you're 10, though. Right? So.
Was that? I think also kind of to your point, Dr. Judy, I think that was in this chapter, wasn't it? Where he talked about how intentional Fred Rogers was about the characters and the people who made up the town, and how important it is for kids to see someone who looks like them in a position so that they can see themselves in that position. I thought that was
kind of like when he talked about the Black Panther movie. I remember when that came out and how important that was to have that superhero for kids to look up to. So, yeah, that's along that same lines.
last call for any other thoughts? Okay. So for next time, chapter 5, learning and growing. And if you read ahead, reread it so you're prepared.
3 weeks before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, give another long gap. Now, I see Mitch, but I don't see Michael Martin.
Nope, I think you guys are stuck with me tonight.
All right. We'll see if we can make do.
Better or worse, right? Michael did not prepare me that we had something on Franklin Field, so.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. But that being said, and Randy and Dr. Schutte, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the change orders that you guys have in front of you for Franklin Field are being asked for approval based on funds that are already allocated within the project for changes that happened during the project, but we already had the change allowances built in. So when we talked about that at the initial approval.
Yeah, there's $0. It's just it's change allowance coming back into the
Correct.
project.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I think that's the only thing on Franklin Field.
Yeah.
Are there any questions about either of those two change orders? Okay, then we need a motion to approve change order 3 to Hay Construction and to Klein Electric, both in the amount of $0 for additional work coming out of the project contingencies as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Morales, Faltus, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. And now, I assume the matter that you believed you were here to be talking
Absolutely.
about.
And I'm pulling Tim up here for this too. So we wanted to kind of just give everybody an update with where we're at with the Miller project. Obviously, there's been a lot of things happening over the last few months. We had a couple packages already awarded. We did have a contractor outreach event right before Christmas that we had more than 40 contractors show up for, and we had probably at least half of that had reached out and said, hey, we're very interested, but we don't need to come and sit through the spiel. We'll come once you actually have the documents ready. We actually walk through the building. So that's great early involvement, great early interest, and which I think we thought that was going to happen of a project of this size and of this caliber. So it was good to see. And I think Tim was at the last meeting and showed you guys kind of where we were at with design. And through this whole process, we've been updating budgets along with that design. So I think Tim has some updated renderings, I believe, or maybe just
actually
the
some
same
videos,
ones?
some brief walkthroughs. So it's a lot of the same material you've seen already, but we actually did the animations now, so you can start to visualize the space three-dimensionally as we walk through them. So we can get into that now, or
Yeah, let's do
after-
that,
after
and then
the
we can
numbers.
talk
Okay.
budget and everything else from that.
Sure.
We're gonna go right into the videos or into your presentation?
Either one. Presentation. I'll decide.
Wait, you already said either one.
And this presentation, again, is an extension of what you've already seen. So these first few slides, we're just going to breeze through them real quick here. Overall floor plans really hasn't changed. Keep going there. Exterior concept, those are the materials we've seen already. That blank slide there, that's actually the video, the exterior video you've already seen. We have a narration kind of over top of it now, so it kind of explains as you're walking around that. We'll skip over that one since you've seen it already. Again, more material choices, interior finishes, and then, yep, you've seen these slides already. Administration offices. So each one of these now is a video. I don't know if you can click on those and go through them.
No, because that's just the PDF.
Oh, that was
Click
the
on
PDF.
yeah.
Okay.
So
That would be the main entrance, correct? Yep. So this is the secured vestibule the public will enter through. It connects to the secretary's offices, the administration offices for the school. So students can check in after the doors have locked for the day. Just kind of gives you a perspective of that welcoming environment that we're trying to promote, and then turning back out into the commons again through the secured door. You see the existing facade of Miller, the east facade of Miller, and how it connects spatially to the commons. Okay. And then we can just go through the videos. That's fine. I can explain it from there. And pick up the commons rendering. Miller Commons, there you go. So continuing through the commons, this is a multi-function space. It's not just lunch hour or for students to eat lunch. There is some technology and AV in this space as well that for projection and all staff meetings, community meetings, that sort of thing. So it will be a diverse and robust space that can be used for a lot of different things. Lots of different types of seating here. All of it can be movable. Connections to the kitchen there to the right. Large opportunity there for some potential graphics nodding to the historic nature of the building itself. You're looking at the entrance to the auditorium there, and then it's a lot easier to create short videos than one big long one, so we're going to jump back and forth there. And then you can go to, let's go to Success Suite. Success Suite, this is really just a name we coined a little bit. It's really a counseling and wellness center. You know, we talked a lot about the needs of the students tonight and various others that were presented, both socially, mentally, emotionally, academically. This is the heart of the building that provides those services through various counseling opportunities, kind of decompression spaces, PLC opportunity for this space as well with a collaborative environment towards the back, but also serves as the resource for their workroom, supplies, a break room as well. So it's kind of an all-in-one PLC. And then as we exit here, there's kind of meeting rooms to the left and to the right for breakout small meeting rooms, whether it's teachers and students or students together that can utilize those spaces. And then a connection to the classrooms to the right, and then all the way through the space here as we kind of zoom around. Nice, comfortable waiting area up front with a front desk. And then we get back to some more private counseling offices with sub-waiting areas outside of them that students can wait for that counselor to be available. And then it actually has the connection to the Hall of History that we'll have some more imagery of. You can go to I'm sorry, they're all over the place here. Bobcat Alley. So this is again outside that wellness center and counseling area. These are connections back to the administration offices and some conference rooms as well as the school nurse through those doors there. That is a direct connection to the classrooms. Again, I talked last time about all of those floor transitions through stairs and ramps and that sort of thing. So this is really kind of a hub of space where we get to go up and down within the building. Coming back through subsets of lockers and toilet facilities and connections to the houses. And then let's go to the co-learning. Yep. Going past the lockers there, we get into the houses themselves. So house 1 to straight ahead, and then we take a right here. House 2 is to your right on the other side of this wall. And then we have these co-learning areas, and really these are those breakout spaces that support all of the classrooms. Various types of seatings, movable, flexible, access to technology, promote the collaboration for various project-based learning. And then the only one we haven't gone through would be the auditorium. Yep. So entering through the historic entry of the auditorium and coming into the auditorium itself, all brand new seating throughout, fully accessible. A stage extension that is planned. Within this space, it's really historical preservation. So all of the cracked plaster and things will be fully restored and repainted. New lighting and technology in the space as well. And then opening up those exterior windows with the capability of blackout shades for those theatrical events in there. So you can do what you want with those videos, promote it as much as you can. We're super excited about it. In the presentation itself, there's a few more still images for the Hall of History, if you just want to kind of scroll down to the end. Yeah. So go back up 1 and 2, 3. Sorry. There's a couple images here, and there's one right above it too, just the Hall of History. This is kind of that hub right outside of the auditorium where we can start to recognize kind of what the building is, the history of Miller Middle School, kind of the an extension of the video we saw in the last meeting, promoting the 100 years at, or 150, 100 years at Miller. So just really an extension of that and more static kind of displays. All of these are built into the construction budget. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. You know, within our signage, we are holding allowances. This will all be developed. So this is conceptual at this point. We'll work with a committee from the district to kind of identify what those parts and pieces are that we want to display within the Hall of History.
So with that being said, Amy, if you can go back to the cost packet document that we have, that was also distributed. So as Tim and his team were putting together all of these awesome looking renderings and developing the designs, we moved through the construction document phase. We've been working through and updating budgets and making sure that what we are anticipating, what we're seeing within those documents align with what Tim and his consultants are as well, and then having those same conversations with Randy and Theron and the district. And ultimately, at the end of the day, all of that being said, the documents that you guys have seen there, that Tim has presented previously, are all trending right within where we thought they would. So we're all within that, you know, plus or minus 99 million that was allotted for Miller, with, at this point, a fairly healthy change allowance that's built into this that should bid day go well. There's a handful of alternates that could be pulled into scope. And that's not something that, you know, once we get this thing bid and we start moving into construction, we don't just stop looking for ways to save money as we're working through here. So we're trying to get those alternates in actively as we work through there. Some of those will have kind of termination points that we can't at a certain point, but the goal would be is that on bid day, we have a good enough bid day that we can start to pull some of those items in. Those are going to be the renovation and expansion of the concessions area outside of the competition gym, the renovation of the restrooms there as well. Right now, we're not doing anything to those large bank of restrooms. There's some landscaping alternates for, it would be the south courtyard, and putting it'd be limestone seating kind of througgoing
Outdoor classroom type setting.
Yeah. So right now, that's just kind of basically a grassy hill, but there's the alternate to put those back in. I'm going to miss one here, Tim, so just correct me on any that I missed. The other one was going to be the wood-backed theatrical seats. Right now, the basis of design is a plastic-backed, which is pretty typical in newer auditoriums. But in trying to keep with the historical renovation, we do have an alternate to change to that should the finances allow. So budget is in good standing from what we're seeing and what we're hearing from the market. We have good initial interest from the subcontractor market, which is all trending in a positive direction, which I think the team has really fostered that through the whole process of reaching out to people and getting people involved early. Obviously, the Franklin Field project helped kind of get that initial ball rolling, and now we're just starting to see the momentum of that. And so that being said, we have kind of a list of dates coming up here that are going to be pretty impactful to the overall project. So tomorrow, the actual bid documents will hit the street, and we'll get a set here to the school so that people can stop by and look at them at the district if they want to, but they'll also be in all of the plan rooms, and then we will also distribute that with our internal system that we get out to all the contractors as well. So that's really the first big step. And then over the next month, we will be making phone calls. We have 2 pre-bid meetings set for the 19th and then the 4th of February. So the 19th of January, 4th of February, that we will actually meet in the existing auditorium, go through all of the requirements of bidding a construction management as agent project, and then also taking site walks with interested subcontractors. Walking the sites, making sure that everybody is in the know on everything that's going to be involved in this project so that come bid day, which is set for the 18th of February, we have all of these people showing up with the correct bid forms, with all of the things that are required. Inevitably, we do still probably have some people that don't follow the rules, but this is to get us out in front of as much of that as we possibly can. And then we would be coming back to you guys at the March 2nd board meeting with our recommendation of who we would want to move forward with, or who we would ask you guys to move forward with for contractors. And from that, then we're targeting a late March site mobilization. And that's going to be getting our trailers out there, getting staging areas set up, that in early April, we start some of that kind of site demolition that does not impact the school. And start really, then at that point, you start to see things come to life. And then from there, we're off to the races with construction. So a lot of exciting things that are going to happen over the next month. A lot of effort has obviously went into this, and we've got another big heavy lift coming up here over the next month that our team is going to be, pounding the phones to make sure that we have numbers so we have a good conversation come March 2nd. So with that being said, I'd open it up to any questions that you guys have about process, about where the budget's at, about how we're going to be kind of navigating these things over the next month to month and a half.
The first few things that Mitch referenced as alternates were the concession stand lockers. Those are actually renovations to the 2005 addition to the building. One alternate you didn't mention was the full build out of the parking lot.
I knew I missed one.
And which they know I feel is a need to have, not a nice to have. So in my mind, that would be the number one priority to pull in, assuming that bids
Yeah, and
come
I
in
think like
favorably.
Mitch said, we don't have to decide day one with some of these things. There is going to be a point in time where we do have to decide whether it's in or not. So hopefully we'll see some great numbers on bid day, and we can just make that decision day one that it's in.
Other questions?
If you guys are interested to see what a bid day looks like, this one will be a good one. It's going to be a long one.
Be a long one for sure. Be a long one for sure.
Remind me, Mitch, how many bid packets is this getting split up into?
I believe we're at 28 bid packages for this.
So each one of those bid packages could have multiple bidders, and we have to open up all of those. So.
And then with 5 alternates plus unit prices, I mean, we're going to have a lot of things to read on each one of them. And then just multiply that times 28. And we're going to be here for a few hours.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing.
Yes.
Being here for a longer amount of time means that we got good competition.
Yep.
Well, I think I'll take your word for it that it's positive. It sounds positive to me that you've got 40 people who came to your meeting plus 20 more that said they didn't even need to because they were already interested.
Yeah.
So that sounds great to me.
I think the benefit of this project in particular is you're pulling from the Des Moines market, you're pulling from the Waterloo market and the Cedar Rapids market. I went through that list and there was coverage from each region looking to come here to build.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Randy, do you need us up here for this next piece?
No, I got this next item covered. If you,
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
okay. So to Mitch's point, the next step in the process, as he mentioned, bids will go out tomorrow. So you as a board, similar to what we did with the early bid packages, statutory requirements require setting a resolution ordering for the construction of the remaining bid packages. So that's the resolution that you have in front of you tonight. And part of that resolution requires setting a public hearing. With the public hearing, there are statutory timeline requirements as to when that has to be done, as far as when the notice has to be published before the meeting. With the timing of everything, we won't have that public hearing at the February 2nd meeting, but we'll have it at the February 16th meeting. That as long as we have the public hearing prior to bids being accepted and approved, we're good. So that is the timeline that we have set out in front of that as far as the statutory requirements with the resolutions and the public hearing.
Any questions for Randy? Then is there a motion to approve the resolution ordering the construction for the remaining bid packages for the middle school project and setting a public hearing for the project on February 16, 2026 at 5 p.m. as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Was that Leah? Stanley Wise? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That motion carries 7-0.
Will that be Will that be the order, Mitch, that they'll be open, the same order from 1 to? Okay.
Now we're ready for you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we actually have already, are preparing to hire our first teacher for the 26-27 school year. The principals are trying to work their openings as fast as they possibly can, do not want, or really wanting to get ahead of the game. So with that being said, I wanted to bring forth the sign-on bonuses that we have had out there since before my time. Nora was here. So it's been a couple of years. And in speaking with our cabinet and amongst our cabinet, it's hard to say this one should have a bonus and this one shouldn't have a bonus. But I'm sure that over the years, you've heard about some of the difficulty in hiring some positions, and therefore a bonus was asked to be presented for signing on. And so we currently have openings, as you know, from the early retirement incentives for math teachers, 2 science teachers. We still have 5 special ed openings. We now have 2 art openings. But we do not have a need for dual languages right now at Woodbury. In fact, they only hired 1 new teacher last year. People want to work there at Woodbury, and they stay there. No need for industrial arts, family, consumer sciences. No need for dual language and social studies at the middle school. Our ELL openings are full. This is wonderful to say. Our teacher librarian positions are full. Our music positions are full. It's an exciting time. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We're getting ready to go to all of the recruiting fairs at the big universities, the Regent schools, yet come in February and March. So, and I will probably bring some teachers with us who can talk about their experiences in Marshtown Community School District and help us with that recruitment. We've had some people, word on the street, some neighboring districts are already looking at our positions. Come on over. We'd like to talk to you. So again, it's hard for me to say that any one of these should or should not have. And so I've just proposed that all of them be eliminated with the potential savings of $65,000.
So just no more sign-on bonus, period, right?
Period.
Got it.
With that said, there are a few people who've already been offered sign-on bonus for next year, so I would feel like we have to honor those verbal agreements. But because again, they're working those science teachers right now. But otherwise, if the board says yes, we'll remove all sign-on bonuses. We'll go fix all of our positions where there are no applicants or nothing's happening right now, and make it right.
This will also help for general funds.
Absolutely. I don't have a lot that I contribute to that, but this is one of those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you confident, Jackie, that the district's going to be able to find, your department and your principals are going to find 4 secondary math teachers?
We have, I know I have one for sure that I can be transferred over, and I believe the position that we're talking about, neighboring district, is also that position. We're going to work it. I had a contact at Morningside College over right before winter break. So we will work it hard.
And you're not concerned with no longer having the sign-in bonus? I mean, overall, I think we're in a better spot now than we were before.
Correct. We are in a better spot, and again, our best recruiters are our teachers and our families. And so when they talk about all of the positive experiences, and then our social media marketing is amazing, and you see all the pictures and all the fun things that kids are doing. The families are there together. The pictures we saw tonight from MLA, and just all of those fun things is the message that's out there. Again, so it's our staff who are really making the difference in the recruiting and talking about their experiences here within the district. So my recommendation, I'm asking that the board approves the no sign-on bonuses for the 26-27 school year.
With the exception of those that have already been communicated.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Any other further question or comment? Okay, then is there a motion to approve not to offer sign-on bonuses to newly hired staff for the 26-27 school year as presented, with the exception of the ones that have already been offered?
So moved.
Second.
Faltis, Gazlinga, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
I'm going to tag team the next two items together because they're related to each other. So just to kind of refresh everyone, so last spring, when we were working on the current fiscal year certified budget process, one of the things that was presented at that time was to do what's called a pre-levy for bonds and GO bond debt levy. That was done for two reasons. One was to just, there was a gap from expiring GO bonds that were coming off the books, and then this is a gap year, and for when we're going to be levying taxes in 27 for GO bonds. So to stabilize the tax rate, as well as allow us to pre-levy and get some funds ahead of time towards the projects, which in turn then saves us several $100,000 of interest costs. We did a pre-levy for this current year, which is roughly $3.63 million. So we're pretty close to exhausting the initial $30 million of sales tax revenue bonds that we started for the Franklin and Miller projects last spring. And so in working with Piper Sandler, we're gonna alternate that each year with the project, since this is a multi-year project. Last year was sales tax revenues. This year we're gonna be doing GO and sales tax, GO, and just back and forth with that. So with that said, the resolution tonight is this is going to be a kind of a two-parter with the GO bond. So we're going to do this 3.63 million because we have to do that separate since we individually pre-levied this amount as part of the current year budget. So there's a resolution directing the sale. And in terms of offering for that 3.63 million on the agenda in front of you tonight, the sale of those bonds will be on March 2nd, and then probably sometime in April, May, we'll be issuing probably about another $30 million worth of GO bonds, which will be levied in future years as part of our tax asking for the next phase of funding for that project. So that is the resolution that is in front of you tonight, so that we can move forward with getting the proceeds for that. Since it's a smaller amount, it's going to be local bank issued. So I'm working with Piper Sandler, and I'll be sending communication out to various local banks to bid on this for that March 2nd sale. And then the following item is the engagement letter. That's just the formal engagement letter for Allers and Cooney to serve as our bond counsel, as they have with all of our previous debt offerings.
Questions for Randy? Okay. Then we need a motion to approve the resolution directing the advertisement for sale and approving terms of offering in $3,630,000 in general obligation bonds for the Miller Middle School project.
So moved.
Second.
Morales, Faltis, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That motion carries seven. Oh,
abstain.
I'm sorry, you need to abstain, don't you, Zach? I'm sorry. Motion carries 6-0 with one abstention.
Got it.
And then I need a motion to approve the engagement letter with Allers and Cooney to serve as bond counsel for the upcoming issuance of general obligation bonds for the Miller Middle School project as presented. Zach, you need to abstain on that one as well? Sure. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Faltis, Wise, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. And we have one abstention. So the motion
Yep.
carries 6-0 with one abstention.
Got it.
Okay. Zach, I think, yep, you had initial review policies for tonight.
I have three different policies. The first policy was the role of a school district administration. There's no edits or changes that's recommended. We need to mark it as reviewed. The second board policy is for management. Again, no changes. We need to mark it as review. And the last is the administration structure, which again, no changes are recommended, mark as reviewed.
Any questions for Zach? Okay, those 3 policies will be marked as reviewed. Abby, anything for communications this evening?
I forgot to mention it during board news and notes item, but we were selected to become a beta tester for intranet services. This will really clean up process with Bobcat bookmarks, but that's really a information heads up.
So this is Apogee, right?
Yeah, Apogee.
Okay.
So it's like a place for staff to access the resources.
Like an internal website for staff.
Ah, okay. You said a bunch of words that I understood, but not in the context in which they were delivered.
I'm a little nerding out about it that we were selected. I wasn't really expecting us to get chosen, so the fact that we were selected as beta testers, I think it's a good chance to see a possible tool going forward, but yeah.
Cool. Any committee reports, any committees meet between the last time we were together and this evening? Internal communications,
Didn't we have a finance meeting?
and we did have a finance meeting. What did we talk about at the finance committee meeting, Randy?
Budget projections.
Ah, yes.
Well, good news.
Yeah. We have another finance committee meeting this week.
This Wednesday, yes.
Okay.
Was the reappraisal project link supposed to be in there again this time? That was just.
That was just an FYI.
I think that was just an FYI, sort of a, yeah.
Okay.
I think the internal communications was just prior to our last board meeting. I think we talked about it on the 15th.
Sure. Let's see, Sarah, you've got initial review policies for the next meeting, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Who's here? Fisher's here presenting. Is the Fisher, is that the same day?
Yes.
Or is it prior? Ben says it's the 29th.
10 a.m. on the 29th.
Okay.
Can't go.
Any items for a future agenda? Then, what have we done this evening to improve education for the students in Marshalltown?
We set a hearing for the bids for Miller. That's good.
I liked hearing from MLA.
I thought the visit was very well done as well. I haven't been to the therapeutic classrooms before. That was the first time for me.
I have not been to the therapeutic classrooms before, Leah. So that was the first time I'd been down there and seen in person what goes on down there. So that was really, really good to see. Yeah.
The therapeutic classrooms, every single one of them had CQLA materials out, and they were receiving instruction in the same manner that you would have seen, and you have seen in the other elementaries, which was so cool.
It's all the same curriculum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as you pointed out there, Dr. Schutte, how special it is to have that program in this district, and what a tremendous benefit it is to our kids and families that that's here. Both therapeutic classroom and MLA. I mean, those are both two really, really tremendous programs for our kids. So. I also enjoyed hearing about the All Means All conference. And I'm looking forward to hearing about what comes from that as well. Not just hearing about how the conference was, but what that sort of turns into.
Drives, yeah.
Okay. We've got a couple of closed sessions, so we'll just take a break till, well, we'll do at least 5 minutes for everybody to get a chance to get out and